noticed that trend in our research paper in Nigeria, generally in Nigeria, even in Africa at large, but Nigeria in particular? Have you noticed that majority of our research articles, I mean in social science and education, is more of quantitative study? Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that? If you haven't, I will advise you just go online now, check your supervisors, check your lecturers on Google Scholar, see the work that they have done. Count how many qualitative studies they have. So don't you think it has to do with school of thoughts?
Because we believe in what we experiment before we can be trusted.
Do you understand? Even some is not about experiments. Some just believe that if I should pay attention to what people have to say, to be as if I'm wasting my time.
And they will feel it.
Why can't I structure this the way I want it to be? Meaning that your previous idea, your previous knowledge is the one guiding what you are researching on. You did not open it, that you did not consider the fact that you can see new knowledge from what you are doing. You believe that your prior knowledge is the one that should guide. That's why some studies, if you are doing it, your lecturer will just tell you that this, we already know where you are going. There is no need to research this anymore. It's because of research philosophy. Now, what are those philosophies that we have in research generally? We have many, but for the purpose of this class, we are going to look at just three.
Me, spelling. That's it.
We are going to look at just three research philosophies.
Okay.
We are going to look at this. So the very first type that we are going to look at three. The first one we look at positivism. This is B. So when we are talking about positivism research philosophy, this school of thought, remember we already said philosophy is about school of thoughts, what you believe in. So these people believe that research, that knowledge is everywhere. Do you get it? That you should be positive about what you want to do, that you can gain new knowledge from what, instead of applying your own experience to shape your research. Open your research, let the research bring more knowledge to you. That is what positivism believes. You can see. So that means if you are conducting study, you don't have to bother about what you already know. Focus on what you want to know. Are we together? Then the second one is we have interpretivism. You see this school of thoughts, they oppose what positivism said. They oppose it. They said no. That in every research, the researcher's experience, the researcher's knowledge will guide your interpretation of the outcome. Do you get? Now we are going to look at what type of research will fall under positivism. For positivism now, based on that definition, you will see that we can classify quantitative here. We can classify quantitative research here. Why? Why can we classify quantitative under positivism? I want us to be linking, this quantitative, qualitative, there are another types of research, right? So you can see that in a research, you will see all the types of research that we mentioned, both philosophy, design, method, and even based on purpose, where we have action and what is this second one? Sir?
Basic.
Basic and natural research. Thank you, Mr. Felix. So you can see that all the types they are working together. So if you cannot place it very well, definitely your research will not be counted enough. So when you are talking about positivism, based on the idea that you can actually learn from outside, then you can ask quantitative. Because for quantitative, you don't have to interpret your outcome based on your knowledge. Do you get it? You interpret based on the data that you get from your field study. However, for interpretivism, remember what I said about these people. They believe that your experience, your knowledge, your own thinking will guide how you are going to conduct and even interpret, that is, discuss your findings. You are not relying on what your daughter is giving you. Please, let's focus more on what I'm saying instead of writing. You know, you have access to the video, right? So don't bother about.
Get by writing.
We are hearing you.
I believe it's when you are communicating with me.
Okay, I learn when I write.
And you will write. But I want you to participate in what I'm saying.
Okay.
Do you get it? If you don't understand it now, later you might not get it. All I'm saying is interpretivism. Unlike these people that believe that you should open your research, your data will tell you what is happening. These people believe that even if you get the data, you are going to interpret it based on your knowledge and experience. That means your findings cannot go outside what you know. Do you agree?
Yes.
And that means if they gave me the same response to use for my research, and they are giving you that same response to use for your research, we have the same data. We are conducting the same study. We have the same data. What I will report will be different from what you will report. Is that it? However, if it is under positivism that we are using quantitative for, we are going to report the same thing. If I said 3.5, your own study also, since we are using the same data, we also said, unless you are testing another hypothesis or you are answering another research question. But if we are doing the same thing, under here, we'll be doing the same, we'll be giving the same answer. But here, our knowledge, our experience in the past will shape how we are going to report. So even if they get all of us the same question, the same responses, our deliverance, our reports, our findings will be different because we interpret, we discuss our findings based on our past experiences. Are we following? So what type of research do you think will now fall under here? Qualitative? Any other person?
Quantitative too can stay there.
This is where I'm going. Now, Mrs. Abiose, why do you think qualitative should be here? I'm still coming back to Mr. Salif.
Because whatever you get as data, it will still be subject to how you see how you interpret it. Your own knowledge will still come into place when you are interpreting whatever feedback you have gotten.
Okay.
And also, even the question you will ask, it will be based on your own thinking and your own experiences.
Okay.
Why I'm saying quantitative can also be there is because it's based on the findings you've gathered from the field, but you are using your own experience to analyze, to interpret what you've gotten from the field.
Okay, Mr. Anapi, so you are still new in this area. Okay. Now, let me answer his own assertion first. Number one is quantitative cannot be interpreted. No.
Okay.
Because you cannot interpret beyond the statistical data that you have. Irrespective of your experience, your knowledge, you will solely rely on sometimes you will believe that if I'm beating my student every day, they will not do well in the exam. You know, that is our real expectation. Like what we expect that if I'm a kind of teacher that used to beat my student every morning like this, that during the exam they will not perform well in my subject. However, if you actually conduct a study at the end of the day, you might see that your expectation is wrong. Some of them are actually take your course serious, but because they don't want to follow your bad side so that you beat them again. And if you see it like that, will you now say because of your expectation you want to change the findings? No. Do you get it now? So that means this has been said to you. Now coming back to your own qualitative, yes, you are right, qualitative, yeah. But another thing that we need to take note is some people might counter this. Some of the counter argument about these people is that even interpreting, like you said, false under quantitative. And me, I would say no. Why? It's because when you are conducting quantitative study, you will design your questionnaire, right? You know, the appropriate way to go by your questionnaire is that number one is good when you are adopting your instrument. Very good. Adopting in the sense that you are not designing it. You are using what has been designed before. What people, so many people have come to agree on that yes, this is a right instrument. So meaning that it's not your thinking anymore. It's not your ideology anymore. That is one. Number two is if you are conducting this quantitative and you now said, okay, there is no instrument, there is not any already established instrument that I can use in my case. You know, you do have to write, or maybe because you don't have access to it. You cannot say, okay, I want to design my own entirely. Do you get it? Even if you design, are you going to, after design, are you going to use it immediately? What are you going to do? You give it to some people. So by the time you give it to some people to verify, that means your own knowledge, your own experience alone is not what is guiding what you are studying. Remember, those people will check it against the construct, that is the umbrella of what you want to assess. They will check, is this thing, will it be able to measure it? Even if you don't give it to people in your field of study, you still need someone in measurement and evaluation to check it for you. Are we following? So all these things is ensuring that you are not bringing in your own knowledge only into the research. You can see why quantitative falls under no question. But here in qualitative, there is no standard procedure in some cases. For instance now, you can design your, under qualitative, you can design your interview the way you want it. You can have series of questions. Because one of the advantages of qualitative research is, by the time you are even conducting your interview, even the questions that you didn't plan for before will come up, and you will ask, the person will supply. From the answer, it will lead you to another question. That is, if you are doing it the way it's supposed to be done. That is why it's that majority of instruments that we use for this is always structured. Do you know what I said? Structured instruments. Let me use the word that we are used to. Open-ended and closed-ended. When we said closed-ended, it is called structured instrument, structured questionnaire. You already give them questions and responses that they can pick from. And remember, those responses, you are not the one that designed it. It's either it has been done before, or you design it and you work through some other people in the field to verify and even go to the extent of conducting the reliability study for it. However, for qualitative study, we are using unstructured